it's a true testimony of an underdog. Man, I lasted the first fight with Demetrius Johnson 2 minutes and 36 seconds. And I felt like it was going that way that very first round too. When those calf kicks, man, really I couldn't plant, and I was forced to switch southpaw, but it actually helped me. And before all this, I said in order for me to beat the Demetrius, it had to do with distance, timing, and composure. And that's exactly how we took this fight. You know, I took this fight. He got to my legs, and that was okay. I wanted Demetrius to work. And, man, this is surreal, man. This is surreal. This is a kid who grew up, who was born, 10 miles away from the Staples Center, the ghetto streets of South Central L.A., to Mexican immigrants, to, being an Olympic champion at the age of 21, where my mother wasn't able to go to the Olympics due to her citizenship status, to, her becoming a U.S. citizen about 8 years ago, and then me now, 10 years later being an Olympic champion, now carrying UFC gold, man. It really is a dream come true. On August 19th, I became the youngest in history to ever win an Olympic gold medal, and on August 4th, I defeated the man, the myth, the legend, Demetrius Johnson, man. It feels super good.
You touched on it, but what was going through your mind that first round? I mean, you're flopping around out there, struggling to stand. I think, all of us kind of thought, oh God, how's he ever going to come back from this? So what's going through your mind?
It's the love to win, but I think more importantly is hating to lose, man. I hate second place. I absolutely hate second place with a passion. And losing to Demetrius Johnson the first time in a devastating fashion, that only motivated me. That put a chip on my shoulder, as you guys heard Captain America say. I says, man, Henry needed a chip on his shoulders. And because of defeat, I was able to fall in love with the sport of mixed martial arts even more so. Because, man, now there's a challenge. There's a guy on top of me. There's a guy that has a belt and he's smiling, and I'm over there looking up at him like, damn, shaking his hand. And now, man, I feel like, God, I can rest, I can sleep. I had 3 goals in my life when I was 17 years old. I remember reading the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I remember writing my goals down, and my number 1 goal in life was just to be a good husband and a good father someday. That was number 1 as a 17-year-old kid. Number 2 was to be an Olympic champion, was to be the best in the world in the sport that I just love. And then number 3 was to be a UFC champion. And I've done 2 out of the 3. Probably harder than ever. It might be hard being a good husband and a good dad, but some of you guys are like, the Bachelor's next, baby. Bring them out.
Henry, how good did it feel to go back to your wrestling over here, man? It's just to get back to your roots. Sorry?
Could I just ask one more?
I didn't mean to
interrupt. I just want to ask one last question, if I could. Beforehand, you said that you wanted to, that you would grant Mighty Mouse a rematch if you beat him, because he is such a great champion. But afterwards, you immediately say, let's go up and do that. Give me an idea why you think the move up to 135 is the right move.
Because, man, if you guys watch my fight, man, look how much bigger I am than Demetrius Johnson. I was watching the highlights. I'm a tank, man. I can easily fill up into 135 pounds and feel good. And the other reason, too, they've always talked about TJ and DJ, the super fight. They neglected Henry Cejudo in the promos. They neglected Henry Cejudo in practically everything. And I get it, because America's all about winners. And I get it. But now that I'm the winner, I'm asking, dude. I'm an Olympic champ. I'm a UFC champ. And now I'm asking to be a triple champ. Forget about the champ. I want to be a triple champ, man. Allow me to go up to 135 pounds. Allow me to face TJ Dillashaw, man. If he wants to come down, we can talk. I'd rather go up. I want to make history.
All right, Henry, I was asking you about your wrestling, just getting back to that. You took him down early in the first fight. He got right back up. A couple times early tonight, he did the same thing. It was like you were wrestling a fish out there, how fast he got off the mat.
Yeah, a lot of that, I credit his scrambling. I wasn't expecting Demetrius to do a lot of these significant rolls, these Grambies and things of that matter. And, he did that, which surprised me. Again, man, when you fight Demetrius Johnson, he's very small and he's very squirmy. It's not like you fight somebody where you can kind of feel like he's constantly just moving. So I kind of had to use I had to deal with the cards that I was dealt with. And in those situations, I had to continue to keep mixing and making it awkward for him. And I noticed even with Demetrius, is the more you make him scramble, he gets tired. He gets tired, man. He's human. I said it before. I says he believes just like me. And tonight was my night. It wasn't an easy fight. It was a tactical fight. I believe this, and I said it before. I said, man, this this is much bigger than the belt, man. I defeated a guy that there's a bit of admiration for, a guy that's done a lot for the flyweight division, and now I have that X on my back, and it's my job to carry it, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and obviously that's something that, and a lot more options too for the wife maybe with that belt. But I wanted to ask you about what you did in your camp and the complete difference in your physique and everything that you've done with Neuroforce One, with the science and all that stuff to not only make you've improved every aspect of your game and then mentally slowing things down in there, but just everything in general to make a complete package and build a champion.
I said it before. I says if I can't be the best in the world, there's something wrong. I have the physique, I have the body, I have the intelligence. I'm fast, I'm explosive, I'm young and cute. Some of you guys could laugh, and some of you guys are still sleeping on me, man. I gotta wake you guys up. And I decided to put science in the center of this camp, and I worked with the sports performance-based company, performance-based company called Neuroforce One, and they handled everything from my recovery to my nutrition to my vitamins to my proteins, and I'd never done this before. I come from the sport of wrestling, where you just put your head down, you just work, and I would get injured or whatnot, and things were coming repetitive, and I finally, I got to know Neuroforce One. I saw what they were doing. I saw a complete change, and you guys could see that change when I fought Wilson Hayes. I was like, God, Lee, that dude is ripped. He's bulky. This dude, he doesn't look like a flyweight. I've never had an 8-pack. Or a 6-pack for that matter. I can drink them, but I can't have them. And I think that was the difference, was adding science and Neuroforce One to the center of this camp.
Henry, how much do you think patience tonight was a factor? Because, Demetrius is so fast and quick and he's moving, and you had to remain patient and stay in the game plan. Do you think that was a factor, especially early when he was moving so much?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was patience. I think that was key in timing and not allowing a lot of his movement to disorient me, because he moves a lot, man. He's super hard to hit, man. He's got a tiny head, like somehow it's big from the back, but his face is it's small, man. So when you fight Dimitri, he's a small target, and he moves. He's unlike any other flyweight, and I think that was a difference. Like, man, I gotta wait for my opportunity. I might have to get hit a couple times to give a good hard blow and then transition to my wrestling.
When you started with Neuroforce One and your body starts to change, did it take a while for you to get used to it? Like, your body's different than it was previously, and you've had, you worked so long and so well with the body you had previously. Did you have to, kind of adjust to it, and did it take a while for that type of training to filter down to where you saw results?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was telling them, like, guys, I'm getting too big, man. I'm getting too muscular. I when they did the studies on me at the PCI Wellness, they from 3 weeks for me prior to going, I gained like 27% muscle mass on my legs. I mean, 27%. I mean, the scientists at the USCPI was like, man, what are you guys giving this kid? Like, what's and I'm clean, guys, by the way. Let me get that out there. But I think you would blame genetics too. My father, my mother, they worked hard. My mom never drank. My dad, and vice versa. But he was a bodybuilder. He was, from the little bit that I know of him, very kind of muscular. So that was kind of brought down to me, genetically.
I just wanted to ask you a little bit about your personal background. Like, you've gone through that. You wrote a book about all the things that happened to you and all the kids sleeping in the bed and your dad stealing the Christmas presents the one year and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But did you think of any of that? Because, you had so many lows in your life and, starting in Los Angeles where you were born and going through your life. And did any of that flash through your mind tonight after Dana wrapped the belt around your waist and, you exulted in the win? Did you think of where you had come from and all the low, hard times you had had?
Yeah, absolutely. And I always tell people, we're poor in material, but we're rich at heart. I had a mother who was very, very religious growing up, and she had the attitude of no excuse, and she never allowed us to play the victim role. We were always challenged by my brothers and sisters. It's different because I'm a son of immigrants. And the way you grow up, it was different. And I was just telling these stories with these guys. I remember when I was a kid, and I never felt embarrassed. I remember going with my mom to the store, and we would go shopping for food. And I remember we would come back, and I would literally walk with her like the whole time. And this is in the middle of the city, with a shopping cart just full of food into our apartments. And I never really felt embarrassed. I've always felt like, man, this is my mom, this is my family. And I've always taken a lot of these methods from the day I was a kid until now. And it's just awesome to be able to see what hard work, what dedications, what the mindset of an immigrant can do to a kid, son of immigrants, to the stardom, man, to being on top of the world again, to shocking the world 10 years later, man, from the age of 21 and now 31, beating the pound-for-pound best fighter in history.
Henry, coming in, first thing you said when you came into the press conference here, you all doubted me. Every single one of you doubted me. How much more sweet is this victory to you, knowing that you were pretty much considered coming in the afterthought?
Yeah, I think it's life, man. It's life. This wasn't. I've always saw it this way because I believed in myself. This wasn't David versus Goliath, man. This was David versus David. That's the way I saw it. I know a lot of you guys saw, David versus Goliath or somewhere along those lines. But I had a team that believed in me. I believed in myself. The mindset of being a winner never left me. It really never did it, man. It couldn't. I still allowed that fire to burn inside me. I put myself in deep waters, and that's just what happens, man. It's to me, it's more based on action than just talking about it. I went back into the gym. I was mad for a couple weeks after the Demetrius loss. I was mad. I don't even think I came out of my room for a while, but I came out of that rut, and I used that as a motivator, and here we are today.
I'm here from Colorado Springs. I'm just curious, moving there at such a young age and kind of essentially becoming a professional athlete at that age, how important was it to have this next step so you had something to transition to after you had dedicated so much to wrestling?
I did, and I think that's what the sport of mixed martial arts does. A lot of people may be watching this, and they still may think it's human cockfighting, but man, this sport is a sport, man. It's given me a way it's given me a livelihood. I'm able to have a house, a car, and as you guys know, a lot of Olympians now, being number 2, being number 3 in the world doesn't get you paid. A lot of these guys are living minimum wage, and what the sport of mixed martial arts does, man, it gives me opportunity. 6-7-figure paydays, man. This is awesome. At 125 pounds, you don't have to be Mike Tyson. I'm doing this at 125 pounds, and that's beautiful.
Henry, right here. As a Hispanic American, since Kane we haven't had a champion. What does it mean that you're the face of the Hispanic market now in the UFC?
I think so, man. I may not be that, probably not as cute as De La Hoya, but it feels good. It feels good. It feels good to carry that torch, man. It really does. It feels good to. I'm a blessed human being, man. I'm a very, very prideful American, and also my heritage, man. I could never forget it, man. I just can't, man. I love Mexico. Actually, after this fight, I'm actually heading out to Cancun and relaxing and enjoying the people, the food, and everything else you guys want to know about.
Henry, you were a little bit reluctant a couple days ago to talk about like fate and destiny being at play, but in your heart, did you truly believe even back then that this was going to happen, and do you believe that now?
Yeah, I mean, you in your mind, you premeditate these moments of you strapping that belt around your waist. And it could be a lot easier if it wasn't Demetrius Johnson, because that goes through your mind. But I've always saw him as a challenge. I've always saw him like, man, I have a bit of admiration for that guy. It's like beating Demetrius Johnson was much bigger than this UFC belt, man. This is something for sports. This is something that this guy's been dominating the weight class for years. Before Demetrius Johnson before I ever started the sport of mixed martial arts, he was already champ. Before I even ever fathomed about joining the UFC, he was already the champion. And that guy motivated me. That defeat just made me stronger.
Yeah, Henry, when you were up there and the decision was being read, were you worried at all? It was a pretty close fight.
Yeah, I felt like it could have gone either way. I really did, man. If they would have gave it to Demetrius, I'd have been like, damn. It could have gone either way for sure, man. And I'm a very honest and humble human being. But I was just happy to hear I knew.
Just one more thing. Close fight. Demetrius was a champion for a very long time. I know you want to go up, but would you be willing to give him an immediate rematch?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And I want to talk to the UFC about that. He would deserve it. But like I said before, man, TJ has always thought about going down. And I'm saying, hey, man, let's, it's no more DJ, man. It's Henry Cejudo. And I want to go up. Let's do it, man. 135 pounds. I'm willing to challenge the champ. Thank you, guys. Hey, do you guys know about the bonuses? Did I get one or no? Oh, I wasn't cool enough.
I haven't seen him yet.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Stand up for a photo. Stand up. Sorry.
Is this my hat too? Or is this just for display?
Take it, don't replace it.